Yeah. This and then the next one. It's the verses to the 8 noble auspicious ones, and then the
on it.
one before this first. Yeah. I'll let this prayer and the next prayer. Yeah, are you guys ready?
Hola, so yang da samala shechila. Ta ngaso din jego nipa de din de da Ewam Peace Pavilion. Tan dit inga ta din an jego tere. Ani din de song da thomer ani ka se ta dar mu chi gi di go ga ta di re de ta bya de da. Ani nalo la din cheme ya parya de da. Ani dini yutakali yota de ni ngaso sijaji ya ani di ji dini ma ka se ong ta the cutting change so thamji kin sembe dandre ani lagta phya da ani di ji ni ka se renga gi ta da de Ewam da dan devi ke are je ko da dan devi te si chi ya ji da ani thama de la dini dirmu che ke o ma ka se ka lap song ya o tin des che ni ta de jerem da de ji.
And so now for our second event here. First off, Rinpoche is going to do a ribbon cutting ceremony for the new Peace Pavilion. And then we'll go inside and Rinpoche will light a butter lamp. And then once Rinpoche is seated on the throne, then we'll offer him tea. And then we're going to give some expression of thanks to people who have been very helpful for us in recent years. And then offer them some plaques as a gift of thanks. And then after that, Khen Rinpoche will say a few things more about today's ceremonies, and then Rinpoche will offer some words of advice. And so we're going to recite the verses of the Noble 8 Auspicious Ones and the prayer that magnetizes all appearance and existence. So if you have the Cascade of Blessings prayer book, it starts on page 4.
Nam se nam da rong yin lun ro be da she so je yin na yo ba ye san je che da ke da ba be so kun la chan da da ja ra ye yo re me ja bo za ten da ro ko jam be jam ba ke da ba tam ba kun la ko ba ja je ra Lumbo tamba tara padam be semjen tamje la gon do be ba yi zom ze don tero ta ba be chen zom de be ra ye ba Deva Shikpa Jela Chansa Lo Jambara Yana Paden Do Jen Jen Jeren Sewang Gombo Sambe Pasaye Nyingbo Trapa Nampara Saranam Ke Nyingbo Pamjo Kundu Sang Para Dorje Pekara Lushin Ten Norva Dawa Rade Nyamaya Chansa Lingna Raje Pak Sanjo Samba Jela Chansa Lo Rinjen Donjo Raje Sabje Nyang Jam Banzan Yeong Kamala Nyindra Tongda Pinso Parpe Manda Janse Wanjo Kolo De Rinjen Tamjo Jeje Chansen Jen Sode Jawa Jujin Gizo Ngobo Tripa Tampara Ve Raje Lamo Jela Chansa Lo Tongba Jembo Tenyon Seme Pe Don De Da Japo Yung Paje Podan Lawang Mime Se Nam De Se De La Se Kolo Dan Trisha La Dan Don Dorje Da Powang Ra Den Chu Den Tan Zen Zen Sa Som Ni So Gele Trashe Paranje Den Chungwa Jela Tam Cha Lo Da Ja Ten Tra Shawa Zambala Gidan Nyevren Teva Kunje Nen Da Da Bamba Samden Yin Da Trashe Dele Puzon Zoba Sho Ma Hong Te De Jen Ba Wa Wang Ge Po Dang De De Dong So So To Pe Ye Mocha de den be merang yin la dorje nyama nangwa jimbo ba juga nangwa taye dorje jikte wanzo tukje ji cha zo pe ma ja bong konde ngawang ja nase sana wang chen hera ka sangwa yi yen ben zaro wara he tim chon de pe ja bo de chen da ma le che ge yin to ring te ma cho dan sa je wang zo de dong kar wang ze tor je pa won da ge zo lang do nyam ba ji be a ye le tor je ko ya ka je sik sang yo ga me song ge ye de Ozara ma bong kunde yong la ja si ja dang je yo chen de para se tor je chao pa chen pa thuk je na nam yin ngu ren de ge cho do je tak je shak pa chen po ye na se de wa chen po dom se man ta ye jum tra tra ve ro ter je kang ba chak pa yin yo be ram jam sa song wang ge la to la kwe be so wan dap so ting je lo cho den we ron de ge par ta da tu me wang de je be me ro zo ma ho chu je jing ga ram jam na yo be ma le sham ne jang zo je par cho lo de jing gur pe ma la thang de tham za ni ne jap se che na chom ba jang cha ti tong che ye rang ko yin ken da tang jo ngo ye jian wang ge chen nang yong wei gang tem zhe ni su yin se xiao wa dang le so pan pa ye yin no song ba lun jian ro pa jing je lo o ma a hong ben zeng ge re pe ma ha re ne sa se de hong om ye da ma he de tra pa wa he den te gen da dang ga da he yo wa de te gen da yo no ro da ewam de ma shama na ye so wa tem de ni so tam ye Shavara George Om Sarva Shingden Gore So Va Chenang Jongwe Tendra Lekso Tam Je Rabda Jipara George Om Trumpeten Gore So Va Chenang Jongwe Tendra Likten Nova Tam Je Dago Wangden Debara George Sawa Wa Shang Gore So Va Chenang Jongwe Tendra Nyampe Jongwa Trashin Tupe Pache Tam Je Minghe Yin So Lakpara George Humara Ya pe umme ye dharma he do rabarwa he dum deke dadang gata no ewa de ma sharma na ye so ha chenang jung we temre ni so tam ji shewar jor ji om salwa sing dem go ro chenang jung we temre le so tam ji je par jor ji rom sarwa pu train go ro ye so ha Om ye dharma he do trabarwa he do deke dadangata he yawa de teken da yo yawa de ma sharma na ye so ha tsenang jung we temre ni so tam ji shebar ji om sawa singtam ko re yes tsenang jung we temre le so ji jebar ji drom sawa puteng ko re yes tsenang jung temre lekwe na wa tam ji wang de debar ji re sarwa wa shang ko re yes so
Hola, so da ngaso di nang de ani tata di evam shidegin tsukang chemore ani tan zegun nipa de ani dwala ta mochi di kaserin cheme de shakatse de yi ani de tata di kala la so ya thakali yo so ba ta ani ngaso ge tata suja de so ya puje ani de nang de is.
And so this is the interior of our new Peace Pavilion. And as the second part of the event with the Peace Pavilion, then Rinpoche is going to light a butter lamp and then come to his throne, and then we're going to offer tea.
Benzer aloke jerwet dem ba tarke je ba ta tenzin nam je be tango malu che gun Tadayi Jing Rob Jun Di treat this tone, the Jablo the chicken treat this things taught the chicken to solid as Mamba, the Lunia don't stand. Ah, anyway. Longye Rumboje Jobala me Tamje Rumboje Rembala me Genden Rumboje Jamni Konjo Somla Chobabo
어디 바고 말이 콘서 팔자리 파요리 알레 세고 말이라 And so now we're going to move into the next part of the event, which is our expression of gratitude to all the people that have been, certain people that have been very helpful for us that we're very appreciative of. And so the first on that list is Namchag Dorlop Chukilodru, who is a brother of Rinpoche and Khen Rinpoche, who lives in Taiwan primarily. And Namchag Dorlop Chukilodru has been instrumental since the very beginning of the foundation of Ewam in helping to set up and establish and support all of the Ewam centers in Nepal, the monks and nuns retreat centers in Nepal, the nunnery in India, helping with the Namchak Ewam tradition in Bhutan, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Tibet, in America, in all aspects, and is primarily maintaining and sustaining the Ewam centers and practices in Hong Kong and Taiwan. And so, and also last year when we were having some some difficulties and some Ewam things, then Namchag Dorlop Chukilodru was especially helpful in helping us to resolve some of those difficulties. So we want to say our gratitude and appreciation to Namchag Dorlop Chukilodru. And then second is Marlene Pennison. And so Marlene and Susan McGovern both, but first we'll start with Marlene. And so Marlene and Susan, we're going to have plaques for each, but they have for many, many years been strong supporters of Ewam and of all of Rinpoche's activities. And then particularly in this year, they were also extremely helpful in helping with the establishment of the new Peace Pavilion. Susan Marlene. And then fourth is Tsering Dorji. So Tsering Dorji is our local Missoula Tibetan master helper. So Tsering Dorji also has been helping with Ewam with all of Rinpoche's activities and Khen Rinpoche for many, many years, and was especially helpful in building our main gate for the, in recent years, especially helpful in building our main gate, in taking the primary responsibility for the planning and construction of the new prayer flag structure, and in all aspects of helping manage the garden and building things at the garden, maintaining things at the garden, and then working on the board as well. We're very appreciative of all of Tsering Dorji's hard work. Fifth is Sonam Sangmo. So Sonam Sangmo has, for the last year or so, has been helping in all of our administrative things. And she arrived at a time when there was some instability in our administration and really helped to stabilize and really get things moving on a good track. And she's volunteering and working very hard in our board meetings and administrative things. And so very much thanks goes to Sonam Sangmo. Sixth is Mei Huang. So Mei is one of Rinpoche's students in Taiwan, but she also comes to the States quite often. And she's been very, very helpful. Last year, she spent most of the year here at the Ewam Garden of 1,000 Buddhas. And she did a lot of really hard work in reorganizing all of our book work and helping to reorganize the shop, and also serving and attending to Khen Rinpoche. And then also was a great assistance in helping us to buy a new car for Rinpoche. And so we want to show our appreciation for Mei. So seventh on our list is Dave Martin. So Dave as well, for a long time, but especially in the last year, has worked extraordinarily hard at helping Ewam, and particularly in helping manage the project of completing the construction and the design and the floor painting and all the projects to deal with the Peace Pavilion. And so we want to show our special appreciation for Dave Martin. And now 8th is Trish Morris. And so Trish was very helpful with us, for us, in helping us to get all of our dedication plaques made for the entire garden, and setting us up with our friend Kenneth, and helping to make sure that we were able to complete that project of putting up all the dedication plaques for the 1,000 Buddhas and the stupas in the garden and so forth. And so thank you very much to Trish. And then 9th is Kenneth Turi. And so Kenneth is the person who really more directly made the actual tiles for a lot of our dedication plaques. And not only that, in the last year, he came back and he donated us a computer and taught us all of the ways how to make the plaques ourselves. How to put the names on the tiles and fire them and all that kind of stuff. Gave us all the materials that we needed and all the education that we needed so that we could do that on our own from now on. So thank you very much to Kenneth. And then in addition, there are so many other people who we'd like to list off who have been very important in helping with Ewam in the last few years. And so just to list off some more names, we've got Adrian, who's here with us today, Kempo Namchag, Justin, Alma, Tashi and Dassel, Lisa, Andrew, Deb, Jason, Nancy Martin. And so, and also Deb and Jason for doing all the webcasting today. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Listen. Oh, diggerilla. Oh, tissue.
Ahora so ta tari dubala ya ta ta ngasun zego de ta zobo de tenin ta ji zambla indi ki thola tenin ta Ewam sena mandu namja sena mandu ani ta ngaso ge ji ta ta namja ge ta temba yong se zobi ge ani ta Wenzin sena mandu, Jabji sena mandu, ani tindrige kasereta, tik dapo sena mandu, ani tindre tada kasereta, Tulku Sang-ngag Rinpoche, tene weyo. Ani diga na yinge tada dbala, tene tik pepa namda. Ani de mayimba, ani di traja nong zinge. Yons zoba chila, ani nge thomar tahi delis here tendis.
And so first, I want to say Tashi Dele to Rinpoche, who is here leading us in our events here today. Rinpoche is the head, we could say, the Lord of Refuge, we could say, the spiritual director, we could say, of whether we refer to it as Namchag or Ewam, but all of the Namchag teachings throughout the world. And so I want to say Tashi Dele first to Rinpoche, as well as to everyone who's joining us here today.
So, ani tari ani dbala katse gorgo ta di ji Ewam digi chetang ge pi ngani dbala chali nang denge rupa che denge ani ji leje nang denge tene mangpu ji chetang de yo dere ta Ewam de gupji kogo ne go zoni ani tata pa de la tende ge pe ta chali nang denge mangpu ji yore ani inaya ta tari nga so din zegon datan drebi chodikoni ani dwala chikta kadin chesi he boya dang ta tende ji yodikabla ani tari pise digi to nga so sembe chin hiwa imado ke dang ge ta pe de Ewam digi tol pe chale nang hiwa mangbo je ore digi thamchi chama ani ka chere kadin ches tene ji hiai.
And so another thing I want to mention is that ever since we got started here in 1999, there have been a great number of people who've done all kinds of work and all kinds of help for us here at Ewam. And so the reason for this special expression of thanks that we had today is because the people who we thank today were especially important in terms of the this today's event, and so the buildings and so forth that we're consecrating today, and so that's why, and so it's not the case that we're not thankful of everyone else. We're thankful to everyone else as well, but there were some particular thanks to be given about these projects.
아니 다 다리 진 데던 레비 소지고니 아니 지 까메지 휴데다 페나롱 하만다고지나 데니 다드방아소 자른 잠벨랭기 토라다 지 가세레 강한 첨보지 차데버레데 가서 디칼라 에봉고 토라야 가세레 지 데스 강한다고지 요드버텐데지세 아니 딘디게 토라다 내가 소도부지 레당가 솔페나디 미세게테네 디로파 나게 아니 파기다다 태베네 유비 아니 남자 돌럽 추줄로드 아니 뭐지 공당 데비게 아니 가지리데 로마난다 내가 나지 드나가서 아메리카 디 나로르 유비게 아니 가지리 로마당 내가 나지 가딩 디기톨라 가지리 지 법지니 아니 드바니 지 루파 나겐다 보다 드발라 다 딘데 루파 나겐다 아니 디가 나긴게 지 딘롱다 보레 아니 페반다 보레 디게타 디소 다 드발라 냐니 가서 야기 롱다 쳔본데 제 다단 디게 아니 디 가세 다디 에범 시데게 속강 쳔보 디기 토라 아니 단 드바쟁에 드바쟁에다 루파 나겐다 그래서 지 살리 나게나데 밤저이나다 간디기 토 Tani di pe rupa mangpa nangen tiki tate sola ngega hlariang ani di tuji ches tani shia tani ta hlaya se kumaribela ta tarin sembe nang change de tere ta de mayin pigi ani yemba tana kasiri mangpu chi yo diki yore tiki tamchi layang tani ngegi di tuji ches shia tani yins.
So to continue on, last year, of course, the world was experiencing all kinds of difficulties, but in addition to that, Ewam had some of its own difficulties. And so, I want to say some additional thanks to Namchag Dorlo Chukilodru in Taiwan and all the students who are connected with him, as well as all of the Ewam students throughout the world in America and so forth. And to some Bhutanese, the Tibetans, people who have come here directly and helped, people who have helped financially. I listed off all of those names, but there are so many people who deserve our gratitude and thanks.
So, anita dialogue chala sama tang somba ina da ngaso di an din tatam do yore ani digi thola ta chetang de gongser ta de ngaso gongni dan sembe che change deso da ani mixe ge kasere ta phagi japan ge ani evam japan ba Ewam Japan ge ani kasere rani da mimi ani khon namning ge tene di hopso digeta deso ge ta rabda ramba jinde ngaso dwala pe di chik ndrewa na ani kasere pe sha de phu ani tene jine ropa pe mang ba nang so ani dige thamche la ya thukji ches.
And then in addition to that, then, also our friends at Ewam Japan, Rodney and Mimi, and all of the students there were also very much helpful in all of our projects here at Ewam in the last year.
So, ane da ngaso dada dan di sukang chebon dela ane da ngaso ke ji repasom da ji yawan be shagide. Ani theater desola dab dabala chi pesha de tene nangdo tadi namba nagi ngaso jablu dan main yang tene tata ka zo yimba yi ta mangbo ji cha so ani mangbo ji tata ngaso zu cha yana yang namhi de chawo ji mecha lapsong pha jab tu Kachen dor disona ani tata badila tene chena bag dabala chi nya tene ke pesha phuchi ni tene naung theater deso ani ngaso de mochi dini ma pha pingola ani ngaso dana chama ja chawa zogi ani dela sopa chikta ka chere menthuni yungen theater deso la ta ngaso ge dini pha main deso ja stage ni yang ja pa dis.
And additionally, we have for the Ewam Peace Pavilion, we've had a lot of sponsors. And according to the level of sponsorship, there's 3 levels of sponsorship. We have tiles with particular dedications that they chose, and those are all being applied. Those tiles are being applied on the outside of the building in 3 stages. And so we've already accomplished, already had a lot of them glued onto the building, attached to the building. And some of them, even though we have finished them because the weather hasn't been very cooperative, we haven't been able to put them on the building yet. But all the ones that have already been turned in now, we're going to make sure that they are up before Rinpoche leaves on this visit. He's here for a brief visit. And then as the more come in, as more donations come in, we'll continue making them and applying them.
So, and the Ganajin ya Londa de la Yang, the name Kase Angota, Maumba, the Londa Koran, the Taki, Mentuni, Jinjung Chetuadan. And a young diggy Pashanda with the Lama Juaina, that's what the Vala Sawa Shigita, Dumchuda, Tendela. Sawa Shigit, needed to chula mapia. Tenders Chinita, Kachenchi, Ranlaya Penge, Yenaya Penge, Tatan Zutun des Maumba Yang, the Junjuya Zotuya. Tendriki Chedita, Yagila, Como Jare Jared in the Pugh. And it did show the symbol so main Gips and Agichin Zuya, Tino Tata Peshapu Chugudu. This Honda Tata Yagilan San Kashija low year, and it Jima da Jeda Tropagan, Nalolang as some he drew and Dreche. Young as so good in Saint as ya loaded in the low. And it way I loaded them to Titula Tumanang, and it Jima did pick up the na, Sumbo Tesola Rumbro, Show Tesola, Nindenton, give it so you go ni, as so the Tendetia in Dor Dusona, Dean Sokang de la Puba in Andra, Yagilonda Puba in Andra, Deep Amdio Tesotaming, also choose Junimavacini, or Tendeji Tendeji say, that's all what the Tendeji here use.
So additionally, we have 2 cases of small plaques for the donors to the prayer flag structure. And there we have 1 case for those dedications for the people who are living and another case for the deceased. And so for people who have donated $100 or more, then their names and dedications will be included in those cases. And then that money will be directly used for the maintenance of the prayer flag structure onwards into the future. And if there's ever any excess funds from that, those funds will go to support the summer group practice of Sangwa Yishi. And then whoever's dedications were included in the prayer flag structure, then every year in June, when we have the Sangwa Yishi Drupchu, the group practice of Sangwa Yishi, then those names will be read out during the practice, and merits will be dedicated and made aspirations for the people whose names are listed. And then at the end of the Sangwa Yishi Drupchu, then there will be supportive rituals done for the living and practices for guiding the consciousness of the deceased for those who have passed.
And that Tariti Yagi Londa then Zeram down that dieta so any talota chego million of so carresena. That your Taringoni Shiba Nagi Chinitan, Zambeling di Tulata, Negi Nandra, Pamjogan Ina and Drata, and Yitun Yeshalo del Pe, Kala Kapomamushu, Chichumbare. And it did Chumbi Cup the Valata, Chik Bene Jacob. Wang Zimba teso ta Jacob Sali so inayanta Koranguni Mesegito Dalape, Tenekazi Kanga Mambu Japin, Sali Huch Nang Yore, Tegana Yinge, Anekasiri ta Rihia, Penayonde, that man Zoya Lasso, but then Digita, Chik Pen and Lahia Yongetesotamik. They don't Timbi Mamanga, Shapchimambuchi Yore. Tegana Yinge Pena Memba in Andra, Nase in Andra. Tene tela sopata chik Nepal rupa chenge inanda chik pamjo yunge so kala thuni rupa chenge inanda ta kachen chik so dan typical ane chali ta samige nang yores ane ta chik ngaso yang dwala ta chik lama trawa chi nangba chi indu kap dena ane nangba khurang de nalola ta chik Tendrella Karag Pengre, Sayag, Theatre, Sota, Long Hamadigno Peshera, Mambotina Tegaran, Zekoche Devai, Pena Santa and the Wutina and Dramando and the Wutina and that Ani digin joke the Valata Bateso Yaji Garcine, any that in Rigitula than a pen, young to be underwich. Tangaso Miyute, Tegara, Zonche, any page, Vegetaji Jabai. Let the sons at Sotamjela Tendeji Pang race and being also be cheer you, and it decasreci Revayant and a year, and it is thing also me double so the Zombais.
And so the purpose, the point behind our goal behind all of these activities that we've been engaged in for the last year was that, as I said before, there's so much difficulty happening in 2020, whether it was to do with particularly illness or people's financial problems that they got into because of the pandemic and so forth. And so just as, powerful people were doing what they could in order to try and help the situation, some wealthy people were making donations here and there, scientists and skilled workers were doing their best to try and develop medicines and treatments. People were offering assistance, food, and so forth. Doctors and nurses were doing all of their hard work. And so for us, we're Dharma practitioners. And for me, I'm a monk, a lama. And so we do the kind of work that we can do. So last year we were doing song offerings and reciting Tara prayers and practices, and then completing this prayer flag structure and hanging the prayer flags, and all of that was the kind of work that we can do through the Dharma in order to support these kind of things. And so that was our ambition then, and I know that I have a belief, a firm belief that this is going to be helpful and this is going to be beneficial, all this work that we've done. And so one thing I, as the translator, forgot to mention before that Khen Rinpoche was saying when he was talking about how the excess funds from the prayer flags would be donated to the Drupchu, to the summer practice, was to ensure that no one's donations will ever go to waste and that all the money is going to be used for important projects here.
Tomar Geva Pada Gevanda, which is Nita, Samba Zambuchi Goni Sali Nangjavate, Tenitari, dan Jogdo, which is Layanta, Tomba Pata, Kazri, dear Muchindana, Pata. Tenita Chipusum Sobata, the Yishilama, Tenegata, Katinaya. Tendichi Nalola, and in the Gomje Nang Tabiata, Tenidi Kasri, Jog Dutuate, Pe Masigitanity. Kasere Gabo Huichi Johnson, Sirval. This home Tankala, any Gabota, Chetangatin Zego, Jikten and Timbarete, and then also that children, Timbitoji Gonitan, Joe Ishilama, the Changa Lasopat and the Masiget and the Kawazam with Huichi Johnson, this home Chena, but Samala, then the Unitani Sosola Popanda within do. Tenda Sunzatan Dordisuna Anani Tata Devala de Gadding Chimbon Digitola, Pamjog Rupa Nangina and Salig Rupa Nangina and Tata Tenedi Pamjog Rupa Nangina, Salig Rupa Nangina, Tin Jola Younger Tamchela Younger Anika Chase down. Ani dari di tamche devala teni raja nuni zinge dandanan zongme tamche la ani taten de la tupji ches that this mata tringe this kagmeis.
And so then, things started off, as we say in the Dharma, virtuous in the beginning, virtuous in the middle, virtuous in the end. And so things started off virtuous in the beginning and virtuous in the middle. And we're so very fortunate that here at the conclusion of our large, work projects of the last year, that we're able to conclude the project here with Rinpoche. And so we often talk about the 5 perfections or the 5 excellences of the perfect teacher, the perfect time, the perfect Dharma, and so forth. And with us here is the perfect teacher, Tulku Sang-ngag Rinpoche. And at this particularly auspicious time when he's teaching the perfect Dharma of Yishe Lama. And so we're able to conclude all of our large projects of the year at this very auspicious time with Rinpoche making the virtuous end to our large projects. And so once again, to conclude, I just want to say thank you very much to everyone who assisted in any way, whether it was directly here, hands-on way, financially, in whatever way you may have helped. I just want to say once again, thank you. Everyone who's joining us online, everyone who's here in person. Thank you to everyone else, and I won't take up any more of your time.
Oh yeah. Godo.
Concentrate on Google mà đi chẳng ra bên đó.
Là check godo.
No.
Hola sos. Ini ta taring. Ini ngat zego. Ini ta mixerki. Ini pe ya bu chonsons. Ta degi zowo dine ta ngat ta je ta taluge chani. Ini ngaran nam general ji minrawa da ta lo ge chalap je dang ge ta ji mimang bol ka nge shu chong ore chu zo mang bo song go ya da go je go ya de cha yo res ane te na yi mimang bol le ga shor de ne ngo mi le ga so par sam che de se ka le chim bo de chong yo res ina yang de ta ngaran zo de ne da ta da nga zo de ta ji ji ane ya 제 강한 때리 동네 제 토바 디톨다 동야다 믹스르게 되는 지다 레감망보 아니 제지 땡지여 봐다 다른 가서도나마 이니 드레스 제지여 봐대 배 당가랑 저 저왔다 켄 rinpoche 다 저거 그 자체 그저 잘했나 근데 제 넘버는 정말 기타 얘네 로바나 믹스기다 달롱가랑 저 되게 돌지 조지는 아메리카 점 되네 마세 되네 당가랑 저거 봐 얘네 에엄 태윙기 코니 얘네 다 가르사이 라마 추진 로드 인나리 대나게 되네 홍콩 자벤 대나게 당가서 창마게 직 얘네 호로바롭지 로바지 대나게 제란조 레가 쟁에 담지게 근데 담지게 답배지서 배서 제비기 점지를 마선에 당가랑서 다리 아니 소강 야부터 근데 야랑가랑서 미세기 담미만 몰라야 선은 뺏어요 봐 가서 냠도 개와사야 땜이던데 야다 다조의 날에 대나기더니 다들서지 망고 준 데스제 토바지 아니 다들서 땜들 제지야 봤더니 가랑서 배 가와 고무야다 예수 여랑이 대라더니 정말로 두개 치슈지
And so the ceremonies today went really well. And so this past year has been quite different than our normal years. And many people had so many difficulties, so many businesses had to close, so many people lost their jobs or were laid off. And within that difficult situation, some of us were able to really face that situation and continue working through that and actually have something to show at the end of it. And so like we have here today. And so primarily that's on behalf of or due to the hard work of Khen Rinpoche and everyone who was assisting him. And so from one side, we could think that it was mainly the people in America that were doing all these projects, but also that it was done with the support of Ewam Taiwan, with Namchag Chukilodru, and all of the Taiwan and Hong Kong and Japanese Ewam centers and students, and everyone else who was helping, including all of the hands-on workers and so forth, who put in so much difficult work, so much hard work, and really have a result that they can show at the end of this beautiful temple. And also our prayer flag structure, a place that where we can increase our merit and really plant those seeds of virtue together. And so I'm very, very joyful that all of these interdependent circumstances came together and that we could make that happen. And I very much rejoice in all of the work.
배 망보고 나는데 답변이 주스레 애니 고도 당보 종에다 가라래 어다티 나나 답변이 주스레 하랑 드린 가랑 아직 차이게 하는 더 물람라오래 다 마음밖에 되지 제 톱나 삼바로지 다 가리에서는 되는데 되네 통마르게 되지 다다데 라마 소명 사자데 에네 나버레 나니 장 다텔지 가란 조고 페나 에네 추초드라오지 강바드라오지 춘종제 잡이잖아 나티 민망보제라 사자드네 민용용 되게지 토라다 가란 조베 지 민망보제라 팬토에데 깔아하고 쉬르샤 데르테 단들지 베 다당가란저 에네 다 심지 제당 베다 로망보제라 팬지 토고나 되네 가란 좀 마망급 찔링이라고 차 톱나 다 데라 에네 당가란 저거지 통화다 퇴바다 삼바다 에네 대탐지가 징아선 레와자토비아 게와자토비아 데네 징아란 조베다 기세 가서 냠나 소남사토비아 에네 가서 냠도 데네 가란 조그 게와 드토비아 다 대양지 제바 나와 수이나야 다지 콜링가 생에다 제벌메바지 레도와 데네지게 수이나 데네 가서 데네세 타마다 가란 조그 롱바텔 데비게지 zuken기 에네 맞자마세 되는 가란 저거 대나 얘기 되는 여르치 좀메게 라데라 소파 타마 되는 가란 저거 마음부 무슨다 심지라 소파 너는 되는 지 농초고 심지에 저러지다 팬지 또토야 대양 되는 로 다지가 저 어네 진인 이섬로 많이 봐 다지 가란 저 벤나 발로 잡차라고 진지다마 네토야 되게 다지 개완라고 지다 럽 첨보지 조야게 토라 다치 삼로지 땅제제네 아니 내가 첨보지 고소 근데 되게 답에 저서 타데 드라마제네 근데 답에 발삼jel었더니 미드소가 다처럼 내가 뜻은 노래서 다 배나 데드라오지기 답에 추소 약보로지 즈 미드에서 밀라야 강할 때 트레마가 근데 랑게 뇨라더니 마용와 용거랬어 this 차바를 이내양 근데 다 코퍼티스나 타마 속으로 제제는 다 년년시한다니 캐런 뭐지 대 패드 근데 다 타마는 공부 야나오래 다 가르쳐야 되니 다 다르게 차라이나 다 가란 쪽에 강해다 묘라 첨본다고 수지 나랑야 다 로직 클래스게더니 봐 샤르졸 레송래 근데 근데 돌아 다 패드지서 에네야 에네 다 캐런 뭐지 다 저런 그 차상들이 될다 지금 질래 내가 또 덤지다 대 제로지세 얘네 렌데 슈바나지 되네 그런 거야 당들랑 제 넘버게 차로나 다 다리 가란 속그 직 달로베는 가서 강하게 나와야 가서 직 안에 memang bola 직 냠도 소남사 팬도지 로바드롭 얘네 드레스지 다 마체비티 나나 다다다 가서지 에네 데 따고르지야 기부tam지 많이 봐 시에다다 드르다다 곰달라 속봐 다 잭델라 다 다다 가나서 마오바 땜기 선음 침목 싹비기 땜기 차도 요래 데르테 텔라다 다다 치람저 드레다 마 예닌 자로난게 대소담제다 마서 민토도서 망보지 따베이 대소 가서 치료를 맞더니 비자야도서 망보도와 되네 대소담제 상마 얘네 다 가시기 졌던 요래 가시기 찼던 요래 가시기 내가 잡요래 배는 당가 좀 미세게 네 리브제트서 답에 지금 말한 저 얘네 배는 태도라고지 얘네 공대네 다 그런 배 내가 요래 보고 요래 제메 요래 이나야 다 코페 농족 다 농업 뒤성 같은 책 당가랑 저거 되라고 강도 뒤덮지로 와지 되나이 다 다로마 애니 대나기 선함래 다 저랑도 상막이 하루 바로 제제 근데 대나기 다 저랑 좀 알마당지 다 강한데 다 저랑 좀 상막이 매전치네 두세 제상 아니 나야 답에 가지 예수야나지 다 다리 때는 이제 매니 근데 다 상말로 투제 제셔야지 다 나라야 야지 용네 근데 지금 마유나 다 지금 이게 지금 득사 말에 삼제더니 나 가장 알아야 되나 야 용제 다다리 그 미색 이실라메게 되고 대도든지 지나도 삼아라 투지체스 쇼가 용이 되네 대나이 에네 다배도 계세 에네 다가 저거 마오바이나 다가랑 저기 레가 돼서 사체츠 강을 제총 되네 벤 다가서 초과 초고나ян라 되네 가르체 고나ян다 다가서 벤 기타 베볼레 사도 로도 대선상 에네 다배 미세게 되네 tela gaboshira chong teta trenge yanda trenge ta chi message ju mendo ta te tamjela any ta zo tuje ches samala jesu yarans shojins
1,000 Buddhas is something that I started myself a long time ago. So at the beginning, it was almost just as if it were like a dream that I thought, just something I hoped that I could accomplish in the future. And the reason for that is in the beginning, Lama Tsomo gave me this place, this land. And then, I was thinking about if I just built a small temple or a small, Dharma center, I don't think it would really be, it would be quite difficult to think that that was going to bring, a really great amount of benefit to the most people. And so I thought if I really want to, help the most people possible, not just people, the most sentient beings possible, then I need to make something that's more of like a community, like, space that everyone could come to, somewhere that just by seeing it, just by hearing about it, by thinking about it, they would make some connection to that. And so somewhere where, people could come and feel joy, people could gather virtue and merit, someplace regardless of whether you were a Buddhist or not. And so that's why, I decided to make this like a kind of garden or a park of sorts. And so then, I wanted it to be a place that would bring benefit and bring virtue to anyone, whether that is local people here, not just people, the local gods and spirits, the insects and animals and so forth, something that could even bring benefit to them, and something that wasn't just going to bring some temporary benefit for 1 or 2 or 3 years, but something that would remain for hundreds of years into the future. Something that would be much more powerful. So when I thought about that, I started to make this park. And at a certain point, people told me that you're totally making a mistake. What are you doing? You should just make a Dharma center. Just don't get yourself involved. There's going to be so many problems with this, trying to make a park, trying to make a garden of sorts. And so in the midst of all of this, continuing to build the park and all of these things, then, like this year, for example, I got held up in Asia for an entire year. And so I passed things off to Khen Rinpoche. I handed things over to Khen Rinpoche and handed over the work to him and put my hopes in him. And so then Khen Rinpoche then took up that responsibility and accomplished all of this work with all of you helping him. And so even in the midst of all the difficulties of last year, then you were able to do all of this work and provide this space and where everyone could join together and could, a space where people can generate merit, a space where people can gather virtue, and everyone helped and assisted in that. And so not only that, it's not just a park. We've also been able to, here, we've also been able to institute the Shedra, which is a, Buddhist education center, meditation retreats and retreat centers and spaces for retreats. And so, so there's, all kinds of, from many perspectives, a lot of beneficial activity that can happen here. And so everyone, helped in their own ways. Some helped by way of finances, some by directly helping with their hands. Tsering Dorje, for example, he has a full-time job. He has children and a wife, but still, even so, in the past and up to now and even into the future, he's been working so hard, helping us with all kinds of projects and gathered a lot of, merit in that. and many other people here as well, Alma and others, everyone who's been working so hard, working very, diligently and so forth. And so I really am feeling joyful about that, and I rejoice in that. And so when I heard about all of the work that had been accomplished and all of the great things that have been done, I thought I absolutely have to come there to directly express my thanks. I thought it would be, it wouldn't be appropriate for me not to come directly. And so I came, then I decided to come in coordination with the Yishi Lama teachings, and came here to specifically express my gratitude. And so, and now with all of the work that's been accomplished in the future, then all of the kind of difficulties in terms of the difficulties of, having to have our events in places that are too hot or too cold or too crowded or whatever, all of those, things are going to be a lot easier now with this, with all this work that's been accomplished. And so I'm very happy about that. And I don't have anything more to say, but thank you to everyone. And I rejoice.
Lasso to the chair.
All right. Thank you. That's our sala.
Oh, lasso ini ta thamade tini ngaranzu ini ta changmak ta tini ngazo ta ngaranzu ge gebi ki sama chembo tabiore ta dige tini ngaranzu gewa jun meche baji yong de gore ta pet ke sri nimare rela tini pe mi kase mambo yongoren zambalena ta tinsang ngaranzu traja ge toni kasa kale thungro do ta chiranzu mi changmak 직도 등산하는 데는 람산타 알리몬데나스는 람산 참에 하고요. 가사까지 통화도 왔다. 밑에서 가비기 지수야랑 가와 찍고 그 지선 지수야랑 빼다 첨부 제거도. 이래서다 때 탐지 참았다. 애니 가서 그 소남 윤마제바 페르고요래. 소남 윤마제바 되네 가서 싸대고요래. 대한테는 다 들은 게 값었더니 가서 믹스해기다 기비자와서 탐제야다. controla chopa pu sembia tamjela marata ngaso ngwa malam je la pardo tene ta tele tene ta da ngaran zo jikten tamje zo ta ngaran zo hibde yongya zambule la tene ngaran zo go pe ta da nga zo tene ne ga gu jik pa che jenge de so seya ta do go sembia tamje ta che ngaran zo go ya donga le troya ge dos che ne ngaran ga malam de jab go yo che namba ge tene chale nang zo ge 이나양 심제도 말람 대가래 내네 징해 탐지게야 잡줄쟁에 탐지게죠 근데 다 때나게 채남바 그때네 조진의 잡줄난 거요래 내네 tel라때네 두개 제시고이 조진의 채남 조고 뻔에 때 탐지 상막에 도면나로나 아니 알아서 민망보지게 두 말람지 잡 민망보지게 데레서 제어나 때네 가서 선남생에디 기튼지 선남 차로요래 기튼지 선남 디 직대나 때는 포juk 땅 두고요. 가자 찍찍 선남데 소속 같은 데드라고 찍찍 소속을 레스 줍사 두고 와 이상해. 다 디드라고 그다 빼듯이서 기튼게 레지이나 디 직대나 땅 오니가 포juk 땅 두고요. 데레 손자 데네 참말라 데네 뭐말람 데네 데네 시험다. 다 가란저 에네 제제를 데네 다 이야기.
And so just in the end, then we have gained a great amount of seeds of merit here. And that is a merit which will continue growing in an unceasing manner because, these days in particular, people can see, the results of our work, online and see it all over the place. And just by seeing that, they can feel joy and rejoice and so forth. And so people can see that all over the world. And so it's not just that we've created merit, but that merit will continue growing in an unceasing way. And we continue accumulating that in an unceasing manner. And so, and so then we should, I will be, and you, dedicating and making dedications and aspirations with that, offering those roots of merit up to the 3 jewels and dedicating them and making aspirations for sentient beings, and with the prayers for bringing peace in the world and in the immediate to clear up any obstacles that are happening in the world, and ultimately to liberate all beings from suffering. And that's the kind of aspiration that I'm making. And for all of you who are workers, or all of you who supported us, all of you who are viewing this online, then thank you to everyone, and please make a similar aspiration. And so, if we all make this aspiration together, then we have what's called that joined merit, or common merit, collective merit. And that kind of powerful collective merit can actually change the world. It's not the same as just the merit of an individual doing a single thing on their own. When we have that joined power of collective merit, it really can change the world. So please also make aspirations and dedications as such. Nam de tam che ze pa nye tom ne nye pe da nam pam che ne che ga na che ba la tru pa si pe zo le dro wa sho
ba we je ta chen ba dang kun de sang bo te yang te yin je te da kun je sa da lo chen ge wan de da tam che rap de Shikpe jarwa tamche ge ngowa gangla chodo ngakwa de dage gewe tsawa de kun jan sambo cheche rabdo ngowa Gangre rawe kowe shingam zu pendan dewa malu jungwe ne jere zewa tenzen jamso shape sinte pardo tenjo chi jawa je Yi ju me dru dri me ling pe yam zi rab dru pa go jin ja dru sang a ten zin ju da ten zi chen da ji yu ku kam sang wa so wa de cho du ku zi ring la so wa de chin le da jin je la so wa la ma dan de ha me pa yin ji lo You come de da du ne mu mun ho du nga me me da ra de le pun zo yo